Hey everyone, Jack Reeve here, TalkNorwichCity. Welcome back for another video. We're going to be previewing Norwich against Blackburn in this video, amongst other things. There's plenty to chat about regarding Norwich City at the moment. We are in a sorry state. Plenty of change on the horizon, potentially, and we need to try and make sense of it all. So we're going to be doing that this video. Just a quick public service announcement before we get into the nitty-gritty horrors of today's video. We have a new piece of merch on sale. It's these lovely Gabby Sarah Christ the Redeemer mugs that you can pick up. The link's in the description, or you should be able to click somewhere on screen. The reason I'm giving these a big shout out, one, because they're new, and two, this weekend, so starting from right now until just after the Blackburn game finishes, we're offering free delivery on our merch. So at the moment, we've got the Gabby Sarah mugs. We've also got the Johnny Rowe t-shirts. Johnny Rowe himself loves it, so that's a big thumbs up. If you want either or both or one of each, now is the time. It's free delivery. All of the profits, as always, get reinvested back into TNC so we can keep trying to provide the best Norwich City content out there. And I hope you've been enjoying it this season. So I don't want to rush you, but I will be rushing you. If you want one, get one now. Links in the description. Thank you in advance for those that pick one up. Put what you want in there. Black coffee, Lakens, strong vodka, whatever you need for this weekend's game. Look, Norwich are in a really sticky situation at the moment. And I think before we get into anything, first of all, the kickoff time this week is grotesque. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday. That's just not the one. Friday night, kind of okay with. Saturday, 3 o'clock, obviously the ideal. Monday night football, they were the days, weren't they? Don't mind that. Even a Tuesday night, enjoy that. Sunday at 12? You know, you're putting us through the misery of Saturday because we know what's coming. And then when you should be eating your roast beef, you're watching Shane Duffy score own goals instead. I mean, it's not ideal, as is the situation that Norwich City are in at the moment. The recent form is well, it's embarrassing, isn't it? That's the nicest way to put it. Our last win was in September. Since then, 4 defeats and a draw. I mean, the last week was particularly horrifying. 3-2 defeat to Leeds in the circumstances we all know about. A truly pathetic performance against Middlesbrough. And then just a second half calamity against Sunderland to lose that game 3-1. The fixtures do look somewhat easier over the next month. And I think similarly to Erik ten Hag at Manchester United, that could well be the saving grace for David Wagner. Blackburn at home, obviously, this weekend, although Blackburn aren't going too badly. Cardiff away, again, having said all of this. Cardiff going okay. And then you've got QPR at home. That should be a win. Should be a win. And then Watford away, Bristol City as well. On my birthday, on Sunday the 3rd of December, they've just sacked their manager. So potentially a slightly easier run. The overriding theme and thought from the majority of Norwich City fans at the moment is David Wagner out, and I certainly can't put you off that standpoint. I think we'll get onto Wagner in a moment. Here are the other caveats that I think we need to talk about when we're discussing where Norwich City are at the moment. You've got so much above David Wagner that's in the process of changing or has changed, and that is off-putting. You've got a boss in Stuart Webber that will be leaving / hanging about. You've got Ben Napper coming in from Arsenal at the end of this month, who, incredibly, we're already putting so much pressure on to kind of change everything at the football club. Actually, we don't really know too much about Ben Napper. He's obviously a shrewd character. He's progressed his career very well at Arsenal, an elite football club in this country. But he's not been in this role before, and he certainly hasn't been in a role that you're trying to transition a football club in the Championship that's kind of in a really stodgy period. So, from me, there's kind of no expectation for Napper because he's not been in this position before. He's clearly inexperienced in this role. Let's see what he can do. I think if he wants to progress in the role that he's coming into and make direct change quickly, which Norwich City need You don't want Stuart Webber, your old boss, hanging around showing you where, the tea bags are and the milk. Let Napa get on with his job. If he wants to come in and pull up things and sack people, let him do that. There's a reason why there's change, and there's a reason why we need to now transition quickly, because so often in the past, Norwich City have been so slow to act, not only with managerial sackings, but, off-pitch decisions. Don't we sign a player? Don't we sell a player? Ownership structures. I think we've probably been too slow within the past, and we're just seeing it all over again. And that's the concern. Napa comes in, you're waiting until, end of March until Webber finally leaves. He might not even, he might stay in some kind of, consultancy type role. What realistically changes in that point that will suddenly transition Norwich into a really good on-field team? So there's that. I think there's also, if we're talking on-pitch issues, I think the injuries to Sargent and Ashley Barnes can't be understated. I think they were absolutely huge, not only to the goals that they scored, but the way we played. And I think Dean Ashton made that very clear on the last podcast. Having said all of that, the complete lack of improvement and the complete lack of identity, if we're being honest, in terms of what we see on the pitch is deeply concerning. And I think that will, leads to only one point. And it's frightening how similar the positions the club are in, this time last year, maybe slightly after this time last year, compared to now. We were under Dean Smith. Actually, at that point, we were in the playoffs and we were winning games, but you could feel the direction we were going in, and it wasn't a good direction. That the style of play, the lack of relationship with fans that we'd really tasted under Daniel Farker, we weren't getting with Dean Smith. They left it way too late. They should have sacked him pre-World Cup. They didn't, and we practically chucked that season away. We're now in a very similar position. This is only going in one direction. And I think the saddening point now is, let's say we beat Blackburn 2-0, whatever, 3-0, 4-0. You're still then going into the Cardiff game knowing the kind of general direction of travel here. Wagner is clearly looking for kind of short-term fixes. He's basically thrown his identity out of the window in terms of his playing style. We saw that at Sunderland, trying to kind of sit relatively deep and play long balls, and look, it wasn't working. This is always now, I think, going to revert back to type. I think we're too far down this direction of travel for Norwich fans to change their mind. It would take a remarkable run of results to win fans back over, and I don't think he's capable of that, and I don't think the squad are capable of that. I think you look at the squad. I think that Sunderland game was the first time this season where I looked at that starting 11 and went, this is bang average. This is a really bang average team. You were missing Gunn. You were missing Stacey through Wagner's choice. You had Hwang up front. Granted, scored, but I don't think he's a very good player. And I just looked at that and went, oh my God, we are now just a very average championship team. And that was a really saddening moment for me, because I predicted that at the start of this season. And then that first 5, 6 games really lured me in and made me believe. And we've reverted to type, I think. You looked at the squad at the start of this season, everyone was going, this should be in the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. And actually, maybe we should have been in the playoffs. But the squad was as good / not as good as last season. Same manager. I mean, what were we expecting to happen over the summer? Nothing had changed. We'd lost Pookie. We'd lost Max Aarons. So you've lost 2 of your better players there. Wagner's not suddenly changed over a summer. We were hot and we were cold at points last season, and we eventually kind of fell over the line. And the same is happening this season. So look, Wagner will be in charge for this game against Blackburn. I think you can tell in the way he's looking and speaking that he knows the end is near, but realistically the end should have been here last week. The fact that he's being thrown out in front of the fans for this game feels slightly cruel, because I think actually if you ask all of the Norwich fans walking into Carrow Road on Sunday their opinions on Wagner, they'll probably say, nice bloke, hasn't worked out, let's move on. There's certainly not a hatred towards him, and I think we all wanted this to work for him, and he at times did have a really good connection with fans. That we've interviewed him here on the podcast. Brilliant bloke, clearly very shrewd in his kind of tactical approach. Isn't working here at Norwich City, whether that's the squad's not good enough, the system in which he's operating isn't suited to him, or other things. We know the place we're in. We are not going to be progressing in the direction we want under David Wagner. Now, who comes in, that's above my pay grade. It always frustrates me when the argument straight back to a football fan is, well, who do you bring in? Well, actually, that's not our job. That's the job of the sporting director at our football club, who's paid very handsomely, and will have a shortlist, much like they will have a shortlist for when Gabby Sarah departs and when Johnny Rowe eventually departs. There will be a list of players, you hope, I'm pretty sure, that can replace them. So I'm not worried about who's going to come in. There's always people out there looking for work, or that we could steal from another football club. But this game just feels like we're the end of a journey, I think. And this journey has been a topsy-turvy one, but unfortunately one that's left us in a destination worse than we were in a year ago. We're in a far worse place now than we were under Dean Smith. That's fairly obvious. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts. Look, Blackburn, I think they've won 3 of their last 5. It wouldn't surprise me if they rocked up and beat us. Equally, if Norwich could, nick a 1-0 or something, that equally wouldn't surprise me. I'm almost more concerned about off-pitch happenings rather than on-pitch. I think this weekend has a real chance of turning nasty, and no one deserves that. So let's see how it goes. Norwich in a state of flux. This next month or so will be fascinating. Wow, that was bleak, wasn't it? Get your mug, get your shirt on the TNC merch website. Links in the description. Look, see you around on Sunday. Let's behave ourselves. Let's stay positive. We'll try to. And let's see where we go. Cheers for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.